Welcome back to Fibs and 4. Have you accomplished your homework from class 1? I hope you did. I hope you took the time to do that because we're going to start building on each of those retracement assignments that you just worked through. So if you didn't do your homework, pause this video, go ahead, go do your homework. The answers are right there afterwards. And I want you to start building the experience and the confidence because we're gonna just expand on this in this session. Specifically, we're gonna be talking in this class about narrowing our focus using Fibonacci confluence. And I'm gonna give you 2 specific ways that you can use Fibonacci confluence to really supercharge your trading. I also wanna give you guys an introduction to what I call ABC targeting. This tool is called different names by different charting platforms, but I call it the ABC tool, and I think that it's an appropriate name for it. Then we're going to wrap up with a little bit of practice, and I'll give you another homework assignment for this particular lesson that you can go and take with you and continue on your own. So as we begin, I want to go over a couple common mistakes that you may be either making or have experienced and pushed through, and just let you know that it's okay. And we'll just kind of call them out, and if you've been doing them, stop. And if you haven't made them, then so be it as well. First of all, what I often find with students that are at this point in their Fibonacci analysis is they get really, really fixated on extreme highs and extreme lows for drawing their ranges. And I just want to remind you that it's kind of like driving a car. You've got to stay on the right-hand side of the center line. When we're young and sitting in the passenger seat, for any of you that are old enough to remember sitting in the passenger seat before they made it a law you couldn't, we'd look out there and we'd say, we're focused on the center line, and it looks like the center line was going right down the middle of your car, wasn't it? And I remember being fascinated as a child, like, how do you know how to stay in your lane? And well, the truth is you've got to get good at being aware of the boundaries on your left and being aware of the boundaries on your right, and you pilot the car right down the center of your lane. We don't drive right down the center line, where the line is. And it's the same way with your Fibonacci analysis. Don't get fixated on the left. Don't get fixated on the right, but drive your fibs right down the center. Use the secondary moves as W.D. Gann talks about. Look for those gaps. Look for those long day candles. It's going to serve you very well. So don't get fixated on highs and lows. Another mistake that I see a lot of students make is they start drawing from left to right. I don't know why. I've stressed it. I beg of them to draw right to left. And for some reason, maybe it's because the way we read, I don't know, but they start drawing left to right. And this is going to really set you up for problems in the future. So please, remember when you're drawing your retracements, you need to be working from right to left. You need to be going back in time, all right? And then lastly, another mistake I see them make is missing the huge cues that are available to them in the market. Gaps and significant moves are 2 of the biggest, easiest ones to recognize and be able to take action on. So make sure you're looking for gaps. In fact, when you start getting ready to measure your ranges, just say, are there any gaps here? And where would it make sense for that gap to go? Does it need to go at the beginning or end of the range, or is it where I need to target my 50% line? Honestly, that one bullet point right there, getting comfortable with gaps, could really make your range drawing a lot simpler. So don't brush over that. Next, I see a lot of students that forget that history oftentimes repeats itself, and they don't use the historical pivot points to support their current range drawings. And I have news for you. If you draw a range on your screen and it's just plowing through candles previously, you're going to get similar results as we move forward. You really will. So make sure that it's respecting from a traditional logical support and resistance perspective the historical data, and your future analysis is going to thank you for it. And then lastly, I see students that get too caught up in either the left brain or the right brain, and you need to remember that there really is a balance going on here between the analytical and the creative. My analytical friends are going to get really nutty about candlesticks and wicks and where do I start and stop, and they get too caught up in the specificity of the range. And then my artistic friends, they're just willy-nilly like, I picked this candle or I picked this candle and life is good. And, maybe a little bit of an exaggeration there, but, it's not. We have to be intentional but flexible in the ranges that we're drawing. And if you can kind of carry those 2 with you, it's going to really serve you well as you do your range drawing. With that said, Let's take our range drawing to the next level. I want to start introducing you guys to the idea of confluence. So stand up, get some coffee, cup of water, whatever you need, and we're going to jump right into the second video here and start talking about this idea of confluence to narrow our focus using Fibonacci analysis. I'll see you there.